Hey, get up! Who are you? What are you doing in my room?
What? Excuse me?
Who are you? This is my room.
This guy was totally crazy. He insisted this was his room, even though I'd picked the key up from reception just 2 hours ago.
What do you mean you got the key? I checked in first and just left the key at the reception desk to go out and buy some stuff.
Whatever. I like the beach view here, so I'm staying.
Unbelievable!
Then he pulled out his phone and called reception. Okay, so I'm Liana, and I'm in the tropical paradise of Bali. My dream vacation wasn't off to a great start, thanks to this Charles guy trying to kick me out of my perfect beach view bungalow. Poof!
Okay, now listen. They admit they gave you the wrong key. He pointed at his phone. Now, go back to reception, get the right one, and they'll probably give you a free treatment in the spa or something as compensation.
No chance. I frowned at him. I like this room. How about you leave and go and enjoy a free spa treatment or whatever?
Hell no!
He growled at me.
I paid for it, so I'm staying put.
After that, we continued to quarrel until I felt a pain in my chest. And the next thing I knew, I'd fainted. Ugh. I guess it was just far too hot here for arguing. He put a pillow under my head and said,
Miss, you can stop pretending now. Wake up!
I had a feeling he was staring at me, but I didn't move.
Fine. Keep on playing your little pretend games. But I'm not leaving this room either.
Silence. He must have given up. But then I felt a weight next to me on the bed. Without a second thought, I opened my eyes and leaped off the bed. Oh, turns out he wasn't trying to harm me. Instead, he was just sitting on the side and opening his laptop. Oops. He rolled his eyes, told me to go, and then started typing away. I swished my hair back, then said, In your dreams? Now, I'm off to enjoy this sunny day. When I come back, I don't want to see your face. After that, I left and spent the rest of the day relaxing on the beach. Bali was just so beautiful. At night, I returned to the bungalow and was ready to fall into bed. Hello, I said as I walked inside. Whoa, he wasn't there. I'd won the battle of the bungalows. I used the last of my energy jumping up and down on the bed and singing out, He left, I win, he's a loser, I'm a winner. Then I curled up into bed and started to drift off. Smash! I jolted upright. The window had been broken, and lingering at the foot of my bed was a tall, dark figure. I screamed at the top of my lungs, but they lunged forward and covered my mouth with their hands.
Shut up,
they whispered in my ear, then pulled their mask off. It was Charles. Confused, I blurted out, What the? Why did you break the window?
Quick, grab your things.
I pushed him off me and sat there with folded arms. Nice try, but if this is your way of kicking me out, it won't work. I'm not leaving. Suddenly, another man entered the room. Charles placed his mask back on and quickly grabbed the lamp from the bedside table and threw it at the man. I grabbed my bag in a panic, while Charles took something from his backpack and then he led me out of the room. We took the back road out of the bungalow and headed into the forest. Where are we going and who is he? I questioned, but he remained silent. Say something. What's going on?
Shut up for a minute. Now, I'll take you to the airport to leave this island.
Charles grumbled. It was pitch black, and I was trampling through the forest in flip-flops. Ugh! Then, to make it even worse, I tripped over a branch and busted my knee. Great! He lowered his back and said,
Get on.
I was a bit surprised at first. Maybe he wasn't as mean as I first thought. After a while, he decided we should rest in the forest till dawn. Charles fell asleep the second he hit the ground. I couldn't sleep, and then I thought back on the incident in the bungalow. Thinking about it, I remembered Charles grabbing something from his bag. So I crept over to him and slowly reached for his pocket to see what it was. Suddenly, he grabbed my arm tightly.
Charles, let me go! I hissed out. My arm started to hurt. Ouch! Look, this is a dangerous business I'm in, he said as he let go of me. I'm trying to keep us both safe. Okay, I could really see worry in his eyes, so I muttered out, "Fine," then rubbed my arm. After a ridiculously uncomfortable night of zero sleep, he nudged me at dawn and told me to start walking. He took my hand and led me forward. I guess it was nice that he was so focused on protecting me, but, why did he keep looking at his phone? Are we lost? I asked. He kept his eyes on the screen and shook his head. Then he led me into the other direction, and then another. Yep, we were so lost. After what felt like hours of walking in circles, I slumped down on a rock and pulled a water bottle out of my bag. Let's just find the hotel, I suggested. No, we can't. Going back is more dangerous. But, fine. Can you at least tell me why we're sweating our butts off out here? I suppose I've implemented you, he sighed out. Still, you have to take this to your grave. I won't tell. Promise. They're after this. He took a USB stick out of his pocket. The president of the company I work for is carrying out illegal activities, and this is proof. Whoa, you're like James Bond! I smiled as I passed him the water bottle. Hardly. He laughed. Then he thanked me as he took the water and drank half of it without hesitation, then offered me the rest. He told me he was working for another company and had been sent in to investigate. So, you're betraying the president? I asked, skeptically. Kind of. Yes. By the way, I know you just wanted a nice vacation, but I've accidentally dragged you into this mess. I'm so sorry. Don't worry. I guess this is kinda exciting. But this is the summer getaway with the most insects I've ever had. I swatted a mosquito away. I heard him laugh, but hang on. Why was he all blurry? I slurred out. Is your head heavy? Then I saw him faint in front of me, and a few seconds later, the world turned black. I flickered open my eyes. My head hurt. I was tied to a chair. And so was Charles. There were some scary-looking guys staring at us. Oh no, this couldn't be good. One man walked over to Charles and in a stern tone said, Charles, hand over the USB, and no one gets hurt. I don't know anything about a USB, he muttered out. I don't want to give out threats with her here, but if you insist. One of the bodyguards walked towards me, grabbed my hair, and pulled it backward. If you don't find value in her life, just keep it and watch her die. Stop! Leave her out of this! I don't have the USB. I dropped it somewhere in the forest. Then he turned to me. I'm so sorry I got you into this. The man sneered. Stop being so emotional, Charles. It doesn't suit you. I was shaking with fear as the man pulled something out from his back and pointed at me. Last chance, Charles? He shouted out. No! It's in her pocket! He must have snuck it in there when we were in the forest. Did he really believe that I would escape and expose the evidence? Then... Cut! Good job, guys! We should be nominated for an Oscar award after this, I joked, while the men kneeled down and untied me. About time, I said snidely, as I took the USB out of my pocket and began spinning it with my fingers. I peered down at Charles and smirked. Thanks for protecting me and everything, but it turns out I have what I needed. What? Who are you? Charles asked in shock. So I put him out of his misery and told him everything. Yeah, I'm the daughter of the company's president, the same said company that he stole top-secret information from. My father asked me to go and find him.
The wrong reception key was a setup, and my water bottle has a mild sedative in it.
You don't understand. What your father did was illegal,
he insisted. I rolled my eyes. Yeah, whatever you say. I started walking away.
Please, see for yourself. Look at the USB.
I chewed on my lip. Poor Charles. He was no match for me or my father. Soon, we'd all be on a plane and flying back to the US, and then he would pay for what he did. Well, that was a job well done. So now it was time to relax with a glass of champagne. After all, I deserved it. One simple extraction back home, and my father's company would be saved. And Daddy's little girl would get a pat on the shoulder for yet another job well done. Hooray! But I must say, I kinda pity Charles, being a pawn in somebody else's game. He was really nice, and clever too, but not enough to see all this coming, apparently. I took the USB out of my pocket and stared at it. But what secrets did my father keep? We didn't have anything fishy, right? My father did talk a lot about how hard he worked, and how honestly he conducted himself. So why did he specifically ask me not to peek at the file? A little look wouldn't hurt, right? I know. It's not very good of me to disobey my father, but come on, I'm his daughter. I'm set to take over from him anyways. So consider this a double check, eh? Just to be sure. I regret looking at that file. I truly do, as the truth was unbearable. It turns out, my father had been lying to me from the very beginning. So Charles was actually telling the truth. He was indeed stealing dirty secrets from my father to bring it to the light. Ironic, isn't it? I laughed at him for being so gullible and believed the lies about my father's company, while it was me who got lied to. These truths were hard to swallow. I bore the legacy of a lifetime of scamming and cheating. No, I didn't want to live like that. It was just so wrong. As I delivered both the USB and Charles to my father, I knew what I needed to do. So I held the USB out to my father and said, "Daddy, I looked at it, so I now know everything. Please stop."
Leanna, so your father turned himself in and will be in jail for a while. So what do you plan on doing with the company?
I was quiet for a moment. This was a big question. Should I continue with my father's business, or put an end to it once and for all? I thought back to the day when I confronted my father.
But princess, I did it all for you. It's your legacy.
I don't want to live with dirty money, Dad. You've always been my hero, but now I'm just ashamed of you. His face fell, and I saw the sadness in his eyes. Seeing my father like that was the worst feeling in the world. Then it looked like he realized something. My father quietly nodded, handed me the president of the company seal, and sadly left the room. I'm afraid that I would repeat my father's mistake. So, taking a deep breath, I looked the journalist directly in the eyes and assertively said, "After careful consideration, I've decided to close the company." After the conference, I was on my way out of the building when Charles caught up with me and asked,
"Well, Liana, what will you do now?"
I shrugged. I don't know. I suppose anything is possible. Although, I do need a place to stay first. I can't return to mine. I can't bear it.
Well, if you'd like, you could stay with me.
Charles smiled at me. Yeah, I'd like that. Then grinning, I added, "As long as you don't try to kick me out this time, or drag me through a forest." I hate what my father did, but in the end, he did own up to his crimes and is paying the price. As for me, I was just going to take one day at a time and see where life took me. And if that just so happened to involve a certain James Bond wannabe, then so be it. Oops, still not it. Wow, Why do they have an entire room just for shoes? That's mental. I muttered to myself as I closed the door. I swear, that was like the 20th door I'd opened. This place was insane. I had no idea which door would lead to my bedroom. To be honest, I've never been anywhere this lavish before in my entire life. Okay, it's now down to this door or that one over there. Wish me luck. But as I reached for the doorknob, I heard a voice.
Hey, what prank you trying to pull on me again? I caught you red-handed this time, Gabby.
Startled, I turned around, and oh wow, there was this super cute guy standing there, looking so smug with himself. So this must be Jaden, the annoying big brother that Gabby had told me about. Only he didn't seem annoying to me. But right, I needed to stay in character, so I replied, yeah, guess I was just too busy thinking about stuff that I didn't watch where I was going. Take it easy, bro. Then I immediately fled to the other room while Jaden watched me in confusion. Phew! That was a close one. And wow, was Gabby a princess or something? She lived in a literal palace. Look at her room. Oh, you must be wondering. Yes, I'm not Gabby. I'm Nancy. So how come Jaden didn't realize that I was not his sister? Now, let me tell you, that's one wild story. I was just a normal teenager, living my peaceful life in the Missouri countryside. My family doesn't have a lot of money, so I worked part-time in a nearby diner so I could save up for college. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but I knew I was lucky to have my loving family. They're my everything. So, anyway, it wasn't uncommon for schools from St. Louis to arrange trips out here to show the kids what country life was like. And on days like those, the diner could get pretty hectic, and today was no exception. By the time my shift finished, I was a tired, sweaty mess, so I took the scenic route home to unwind. That's when I heard this girl screaming for help. She must have slipped and fell into this ditch. I quickly found a big branch to help pull her out of there. Then she brushed the dirt off her as she said, "Thanks." But as she looked up at me, OMG! We both jumped up in such a fright that we almost stumbled back into the ditch. She looked exactly like me. I pinched myself to check I wasn't hallucinating or something. I mean, I was super exhausted from work. We stared at each other gormlessly for a bit. Then she suddenly reached out her hand and slapped me. Ouch! I raised my eyebrows at her, and she just grinned back. Oops, sorry. Just checking this isn't a dream. That's when I saw it. Her bracelet. The pendant on it was a strange shape. A strange shape like mine. I held out my wrist to slot my bracelet's pendant into hers, and it formed a butterfly. What's more, carved on the back of it was our birthday, November 3rd. Oh my God! No wonder why! I always asked my parents why they bought me such an ugly bracelet. Turns out it was 2 halves of a whole? She shrieked. So, do you think we're twins? I was still in shock, but I managed to mutter out, "Must be." She excitedly clapped her hands together, then pulled me into a hug. She said her name was Gabby, and her field trip was so dull that she wandered off, then ended up lost and stuck. Then I told her about my loving family, and she told me about her city life. I thought her life sounded awesome, but she didn't think so. Nah, it's seriously so boring over there. I just want a happy, drama-free life like yours. It makes sense now. I see why my parents love my brother more than me. I'm obviously adopted. But hey, at least you have your friends and get to go to a good school. School? That's the worst part. I hate it. Then she paused and turned to me. Nancy, I have an amazing idea. How about we switch places? This was crazy. An hour ago, I thought I was an only child, and now I was staring at my twin. Gabby seemed adamant switching places was the best idea ever. as I'd get a taste of the city life while also helping her ace her upcoming exams. This did sound tempting. I mean, it wasn't every day your long-lost twin appeared and offered you the adventure of a lifetime, right? We didn't have much time to discuss it anymore, so we quickly switched clothes, phones, and further instructions about anything else would be discussed later over the phone. Then I showed her the way to my house, and I headed toward the crowd of noisy students lining up for the bus back to the city. Suddenly, a girl tapped me on the shoulder and in an annoyed tone said, where have you been? Blonde hair, a pink hairband, and wearing a choker with a heart pendant on it. Yep, this must be Katie, Gabby's best friend. I followed her onto the bus, then yawned and told her I was exhausted. I feigned sleeping for the duration of the journey back so she wouldn't start any more convos with me. So after that, things went by smoothly, until I got home and didn't know where I normally sleep at. But it's okay now, as I'm safe in Gabby's bedroom. The butler did knock on the door to ask me to come down for dinner. I know, the fact they have a butler is crazy. But I just lied that I'd eaten loads on the field trip. There was no time for food now. I needed to learn as much as I could about these people. I searched her room and looked through her yearbooks, family photos, anything. I thought I was ready to go to school as Gabby tomorrow. But, well, as if it was that simple. The next morning, I nervously came downstairs to go to school. And of course, I had to face the entire family now. Upon seeing me, the small talks all came flying at me. How was yesterday's trip, dear? I managed to mumble out, it was all right. Then suddenly, a hand rubbed my hair. Hey, I'm taking your PB&J, okay? You won't need it anyway. I turned to look and saw him grinning at me before he headed outside. Oh gosh, I thought I'd melted into a puddle. He's so cute. I just wanted to follow him. But then Dad cleared his throat. Gabriella, can we please make it a day free of complaints from your teachers? Oh God, Gabby, what had you possibly done? I gulped back, nodded in response, then hurried out of there. I awkwardly lingered in front of the mansion. This was the spot where the bus dropped me off yesterday, so hope this was how it worked. Then suddenly, a scary-looking guy pulled up on the other side of the street and yelled at me. Babe, what are you doing? Get in! Me? I was his babe? Oh, so he was Dylan, my sister's boyfriend. I walked over and reluctantly climbed on the back seat. Hey, what's wrong? Are you still mad at me for letting you go on the field trip alone? Come on, you said it was okay. I didn't know what to say to him, so I stayed quiet and stared out the window. Come on, babe, I mean, this is dumb. We both know how sitting in the back always gives you travel sickness. Gosh, I really needed to say something to shut this guy up, huh? No, it's totally fine between us. It's just that I feel a bit under the weather. I need a little rest, that's all. And it's more spacey here. Well, that seemed to quiet him down, but I kept on catching him giving me odd looks in the rearview mirror. Look at him! Ugh! Gabby and I might be twins, but our taste in guys couldn't be any more different. Dylan looked like the bad boy type. Green hair, a nose ring, and drove some flashy sports car, while I prefer sweet and funny guys, like Jaden. But I didn't want to accidentally ruin my sister's relationship either, so when we got to school, I had to give him a peck on the cheek to make sure that we were cool. Yuck. His cologne stank. Luckily, I met Katie in the parking lot, so I followed her to class. Things were going great. At least, they were, until we got to Spanish class. The teacher, Mrs. Harrison, gave me this judgy look right from the moment I walked in. Turns out, Gabby hadn't handed in her homework, and she spent the whole of the last session painting her nails. Mrs. Harrison demanded to check my homework today. Well, of course, I didn't know I had homework. So, in a disappointed voice, she said, Gabby, it's been 2 years and you still don't know how to conjugate any single verb. Are you proud of that? Suddenly, I heard Katie whisper, but at least she knows how to dress, Mrs. Harrison. Your sweater looks like it should have been thrown out 2 years ago." Then some of the class giggled. "Oh my God, Katie? That was so rude." But luckily, the teacher didn't hear that. I quickly apologized to Mrs. Harrison and told her to just give me a pop quiz to make up for my missing homework. She did. And to her, and the whole class's total surprise, I slayed all the questions. After class, I told Katie that her comment about Mrs. Harrison wasn't cool. Laughing, she replied, "Geez, why are you so uptight today?" But on seeing my unfaltering expression, she quickly changed the subject. "You've still got to help me with the plan, okay? You promised." She winked at me. "What? What plan?" In confusion, I faked a smile at Katie. "Oh, don't you worry, girl. I got it all set." That night, Gabby called me and we updated each other on our first day. Things went better than expected. Apparently, she loved it there, and she felt so warm and connected with Mom and Dad, and she was sure that they were our real parents. She also enjoyed feeding the chickens and apple picking in the backyard. However, she did almost get me fired from work, as she didn't know how to use the oven, but she managed to charm her way out of it. I told her how I'd handled the Dylan situation and made peace with Mrs. Harrison. But oh, Gabby, Katie did mention to me about some plan? What is it? Oh, yeah, I promised to set her up with Jaden. I guess you'll have to carry it out for me now. My heart sank as I said, "Jaden? As in, your brother Jaden?" "Yeah, now not biologically. It's no wonder I just couldn't get along with him. Not like us, right?" I forced a laugh and changed the subject. But, oh no, Jaden was far more suited to me than rebellious Katie. But, okay, this was Gabby's life, so I needed to make sure I didn't mess it up. And maybe, when this twinning truth broke out, I'd get my chance with Jaden. For now, we agreed to continue living each other's lives. I suppose it was pretty easy, seeing as all Gabby seemed to do was hang out with her friends and avoid doing her homework. The only part I didn't like was setting Katie up with Jaden. And that's when things got complicated. Will we ever tell everyone the truth? Or this life swap is too much fun to stop? Stay tuned for part 2 to find out. I wonder what's taking Valerie so long. She's been in that changing room for ages. Valerie? Is everything okay in there? Don't force it if it doesn't fit. No, this is the last dress in store. I just need to breathe in for a bit longer. So? It's beautiful, isn't it? Valerie spun around. Then suddenly, yep, trying to squeeze into a dress 2 sizes too small for her, and it split. The giggles around us started. Valerie blushed, hurriedly paid for the dress, and pulled me out of the shop. Why am I so fat? Ugh! I just want to feel pretty on my date. If I was skinny like you, I wouldn't have this problem. Poof! You know, it's not as easy as you think being thin. Yep, you heard me right. Being thin has its downsides. First of all, fashion. My nightmare. I have to wear an extra small size, and the clothes still hang off me. Actually, most of my clothes are from kids' stores, so I feel so untrendy. Then in winter, I have to wear tons of layers just so I don't freeze to death. And in the summer, I can't wear cute clothes as I look like a coat hanger. Not only that, because I'm so skinny, people often ask me to do nonsense stuff. Once, I was studying in my room when suddenly I heard my sister Camilla calling me. She'd forgotten her keys and forced me to climb through her tiny window gap to get them. Seriously, I can't even. Then, on another occasion, Valerie made me crawl into the classroom locker to help her cheat on her Spanish test. Unfortunately, the teacher walked in while this was happening and gave me a week's worth of detentions, of course. Ugh! Oh my God, No Way Home is so good. I literally can't think of one bad thing to say about it. Yep, the part near the end. Ah! Yep, guess what? I'd managed to trap my foot in a manhole. Man, what rotten luck! I tried pulling my leg free, but it was no use. It wouldn't budge. There I was, freaking out that I'd be stuck here forever, and all my friends could do was huddle together and ask me questions like,
Madeline, how on earth did you get your foot in such a small slot?
Wow, that's unbelievable! Even Jaden, my bookworm friend, took out a ruler from his backpack and started measuring how wide the slot was. Grr. My dear friends, I'm being stuck down here. Stop gawping and help me! Finally, they tried helping me out, but in the end, we had to call the rescue squad. By this point, a massive crowd had gathered around me, and strangers were filming me. When I was finally free, everyone looked at me and held back their laughter. Even Parker, my crush, was smiling. Geez, this was beyond embarrassing. But a hot guy like Parker would never notice a moving skeleton like me anyway. Don't think like that, Maddie. You're so pretty. Show me some confidence, would you? Valerie said as she nudged my arm. I put the book down and glared at her, and suddenly noticed Parker walking towards our table, smiling. And yep, he said he wanted to sit with us. Even though I was cheering inside of my head, I still had to act composed. And oh my God, can you believe he even said I was cute? After that day, Valerie kept on encouraging me, saying he had definitely given me a green light. So finally, I gathered my courage to write down all my feelings for Parker on a note and clipped it to his notebook. At the end of class that day, he came to my desk and took my hand. Yay! Everything was fine, great even, until one day when the two of us were taking a romantic walk past the Swan Lake, Parker suddenly turned to me and said,
You're so beautiful, Maddie. And if you just put on a few more pounds, I swear you'll be the hottest girl at school.
Yes, I know, but it's hard for me to gain weight.
No big deal. Just leave it to me. I'll fatten you up.
I thought Parker was just joking, but it turns out he was being deadly serious. Since that day, every time we went on a date, instead of taking me to the bowling alley and movies as usual, Parker would take me out to eat. I swear I've tried all the restaurants in our town. More surprisingly, on my birthday, Parker even gave me a bouquet of fried chicken. How romantic! But this didn't change anything, as my weight still stayed the same. Parker was disappointed when he peered over me and saw the scales hadn't budged. Then he sighed out.
How come you and Valerie are friends, but look totally opposite? Here comes our adorable, chubby Valerie.
What? Parker called Valerie adorable again. This wasn't the first time either. Annoyed, I put down my fork and walked away from them. After that, I started avoiding Valerie. I did homework with other friends, sat with other girls at lunch, and every time I happened to see Valerie, I turned around and walked away. Honestly, I didn't want it to be this way, but just seeing her made me uncomfortable. But I couldn't bear to see my boyfriend call my BFF cute. Well, he thought I was too skinny. Then summer break finally rolled around. I thought it'd be just me and Parker, but then he went off to a summer camp in Spain. The plan was all ruined. So I spent a whole sunny day inside sulking. What's wrong? Are you bored because your lover is away? So why don't you take this time to surprise him when he returns? Surprise? A great idea popped into my head. But how do I get chubby? Easy peasy. Okay, if it's that easy, then show me. Okay, if you do my summer homework for me. What? She's such an opportunist. But I really wanted to pile on the pounds and please Parker. So, without hesitation, I nodded in agreement. So, from that day on, I started following Camilla's weight gain plan. I switched veggies for greasy foods, and my main meal was always late at night. I also changed water for milkshakes, but I did have to stop drinking them when the smell of milk alone made me feel sick. Seeing me eating crazy like that, my parents worriedly said,
Madeline, eating healthily is important, else your health will be affected.
But I ignored their advice. This time, I definitely had to gain weight. Finally, after a month of trying, I gained some weight. Yay! I looked a lot more attractive now, didn't I? I was studying myself in the mirror when I heard my phone beep. It was Parker. He was coming over tomorrow with a present for me. The next day, I put on this hot dress that I'd never felt confident enough to wear before, and I asked Camilla to help me do my makeup. As soon as I finished, I eagerly waited for Parker in the living room. The doorbell rang. I excitedly opened the door, but as soon as he saw me, Parker quickly said,
Oh, sorry. I have the wrong house.
Then he started to leave. Huh? He didn't recognize me? This will be fun. No, honey, you're not mistaken. It's me, your destiny.
Madeline? Is that really you? Oh my, how on earth can you be this big? We've only been apart for a month.
So, you don't think I'm prettier now? To my surprise, Parker shook his head.
No, you're so fat now. It doesn't look okay. Lose some weight.
Huh? This was so confusing. I thought he wanted me to be bigger. As annoying as this was, I still listened to Parker and tried to lose the weight I'd put on. So it turns out that losing weight is far trickier than it sounds. Actually, it's 1,000,000 times harder to lose it than it is to gain it. After a month of healthy eating and exercise, I gained another pound. Ugh!
Stop eating that. Are you giving up already? You must try harder.
What? It's just some popcorn. Why does he have to be so rude about this?
I'll give you 2 weeks to lose weight. Else we're done.
Huh? What did he just say? Done? He was the one who wanted me to gain weight in the first place. Now he was threatening to break up with me if I didn't lose it. How ridiculous. You know what? I don't need 2 weeks. Let's end it right now. It's clear you never loved me at all. You only like my appearance. If you truly cared about me, you wouldn't care what size I was. Then I walked off. Ugh! How could I have been so stupid? For the entirety of my relationship with that jerk Parker, I was blindly following him. I only cared about pleasing him, and it cost me so many things, including my best friend. I needed to apologize to her right away. I nervously knocked on the door, then waited. Finally, Valerie opened it, but on seeing me, she went to shut it. I'm so sorry. Just let me explain, please. Valerie, I'm so sorry. It was all because I was afraid Parker would leave me for you. But I realize now that he's a massive jerk, and I was an idiot for ever trying to change for him. Jeez, you're crazy. Parker is totally not my type. I scratched my head and told her about how terrible Parker had treated me and how I'd foolishly listened to him. Man, that douchebag! Then she hugged me. Valerie confessed to me that she'd been trying to lose weight by lowering her calorie intake, but the pounds weren't coming off. And worse still, she felt weak and tired all the time. I nodded in agreement with her. So, from then on, Valerie and I made a promise to love ourselves, regardless of what size we were, and to never let anyone try and change us. And look, that's Walker and Joel, our awesome boyfriends who love us just the way we are. And you know what? It feels so good not caring what other people think. So don't ever let idiots put you down. 'Cause when you allow yourself to just be you, then you can finally realize just how beautiful you truly are. I was taking an interesting-looking book from the bookshelf when suddenly I saw a face peering back at me. Wait a minute. Oh God, not him! I quickly hid my face behind a book, but too late. He'd already seen me. Duh, what was I thinking? Now I looked even more pathetic. You must be wondering why I was desperately avoiding this dude. Well, this wasn't just any dude. It was my ex-boyfriend, Owen. Talk about a day ruined. Oh, hi, Owen. I didn't see you there. Are you here by yourself?
Oh no, I'm here with my girlfriend. There she is. Hey babe, I'm here.
I turned around and, geez, my day just went from bad to catastrophic. How on earth did they end up together? Yep, I knew that girl. She's Mila, my stepsister. Oh, let me tell you about her. Actually, before we became stepsisters, Mila and I went to the same high school together, but we weren't close or anything. But out of the blue, my mom and Mila's dad somehow got together and soon got married. I tried being friendly towards her, but no matter what I did, she remained cold and unpleasant towards me. She even forbid me from telling anyone at school that we were family. And she started to compete with me for team tryouts, in tests, everything. Then one day, after a few months of living together, she informed our parents that she was moving in with her mom and switching schools. Why, you ask? Well, 'cause she couldn't stand living with me anymore. I'm not gonna lie, hearing her say that hurt like crazy. All I'd been was nice to her. But fine, if that's what she wanted to do, then whatever. And like I said, that guy over there is my ex, Owen. We used to date when I was a sophomore and he was a senior. But then he dumped me for the most ridiculous reason ever. Well, back then, I was on a strict diet. Every time we went out for some food, I would order a depressing-looking salad, and Owen would order a delicious hamburger with fries on the side. So I always snuck a fry or two from his plate, and a couple of bites out of his burger. But I mean, sharing is something totally normal in a relationship, right? But, well, Owen didn't think so. So just like that, he ended things with me, then went away to college. But now he was back in town for summer break, and he was dating my stepsister. Ugh. Oh, hey Amy. Long time no see. Oh yeah, I hope you don't mind, but I'm with Owen now. Ugh, I hate her sarcasm. And did she have to latch onto his arm and stroke his hair?
What about you, Amy? Are you seeing anyone at the moment?
There was no way I was going to tell them I was single. That would be so embarrassing. So I flipped my hair, then started bragging about my awesome older boyfriend. A mature guy who has the face of a movie star and the body of a Calvin Klein model. Wrinkles started to form between Mila's eyebrows. In your face? But then Owen suddenly said,
Great. How about a double date tomorrow night?
What? Great idea, babe. I want to meet the lucky guy who stole my sister's heart. My God, they weren't joking. Ugh, I had no other choice but to agree. Darn it, where was I going to find a handsome older guy by tomorrow?
Amy, are you trying to wear away that table?
Oops, I'd been so preoccupied with my dating dilemma, I hadn't realized I'd been cleaning the same table for 20 minutes. Hey, but wait! I took a closer look at my manager's face. Jake is handsome, older than me, and he's single. My God, I'd found my fake boyfriend! Now I just needed to persuade him. But he's way too serious to help with this stupid situation. I did know he was on the search for his perfect girlfriend, as I'd overheard him complaining about the disastrous dates he's been on. Cue my perfect plan. After we closed the coffee shop, I volunteered to clean up so I had an excuse to stay late with Jake. Hey Jake, My boyfriend Owen has an intelligent, gorgeous-looking sister who I want to introduce you to." At first, he wasn't interested, so I showed him Mila's prettiest picture.
"Holy moly! That's his sister?"
"Geez, why so surprised? Mila is not that beautiful." Whatever, at least I had his attention. I asked him if he wanted to go on a double date, and he immediately agreed. Yes, jackpot! So my plan worked. But the only issue was that my fake boyfriend thinks he was on a date with Mila and that I was with Owen, when in reality they were actually both together. But no worries, I could pull this off, right? So for our double date, we all went bowling. Jake took an instant liking to Mila and tried to impress her with his bowling skills. Me, on the other hand, sucked at bowling and got constantly teased by Owen. So when it was his turn and he misjudged his throw and threw the ball straight in the gutter, I had loads of fun teasing him back. To be honest, I was enjoying hanging out with him. And please, don't get me started with his looks. He's definitely grown more handsome with time. Suddenly, it was my turn again, and Owen was asking me if I wanted him to show me how to throw a bowling ball correctly. I timidly said yes. So he stood behind me, touched my hand, and showed me. Oh my God, my whole body was heating up, and I could feel that Owen was blushing too. Hang on, I think I still have feelings for him. Mila didn't deserve him. He should be with me. Overall, the double date was a big success. Jake didn't suspect a thing. And not only that, but he also helped keep Mila away from Owen so that I had a chance to win him back. But then a few days later, Jake told me that he really liked Mila and asked me if I could set them up on a date, but this time only the two of them. What? He actually liked Mila? Of course, I couldn't set them up. It was impossible, because Mila was with Owen. So, reluctantly, I suggested another double date. He agreed, but this time he insisted that we went out for a romantic dinner. Fine. Everything was okay at first, but then Owen placed his arm around Mila while she fed him some of her mashed potatoes. I glanced over at Jake and saw the dumbfounded look on his face. I needed to separate them quickly, so I asked Mila to come to the bathroom with me. Oh, Owen is such a great guy. He's so thoughtful, and he always treats me like a princess. Ugh, she's so annoying. Well, enjoy him while you can, 'cause he would soon be mine again. When I walked out of the bathroom, Jake ran over to me and dragged me into a corner. Owen and Mila are really strange, don't you think? Are you hiding something from me? What? I would never. They're just close siblings, that's all. Oh, and by the way, I talked to Mila in the bathroom, and she thinks you're a great guy. Of course, that was a big fat lie. If I was Pinocchio, my nose would be as long as an entire baseball bat. But at least Jake was buying it, 'cause he looked so thrilled. We went back to the table and continued this so awkward dinner. Suddenly, Owen and Mila started calling each other Buttercup, Cutie Pie, and other disgusting nicknames. Jake and I just sat there with super awkward faces. Hey, Mila, you and Owen seem to be pretty close. Have you always been this way? Of course. We just can't get enough of each other, can we, sweet stuff? She looked at Owen with dreamy eyes and kissed him on the cheek. Yes, on the freaking cheek! I looked over to Jake and, yep, he looked so horrified, but maybe he hadn't figured out they aren't siblings. Ugh, who am I kidding? Of course he'd figured it out. After the double date, he yelled at me for tricking him. I explained to him that I really like Owen and that I was trying to win him back. What about you? Do you like Mila? Jake silently thought for a minute, then nodded. He really likes Mila a lot. So I suggested that we should team up to break the couple up. And Jake agreed. I told Jake that Mila is into photography and also has professional equipment. So he messaged her asking if she could take photos of the coffee shop for his online page. And Mila said yes. While that was going on, I turned into a complete creep and followed Owen just so I could accidentally bump into him at the bakery. Then we had some croissants and talked about the old days. I thought it would be fun spending a whole day with Owen, but no. On the contrary, it soon began to get boring. Kinda annoying even. Turns out, his personality hadn't changed at all. He kept his food out of biting distance of me and still told the lamest jokes. Listen to this. What do you call a sad coffee? A depresso. Now I regret buying him that coffee. Maybe I should reconsider this. I mean, do I really want this boring guy back? Then he told me he was planning a special surprise for Mila, and he wanted to discuss it with me over dinner at his place. When I was in the kitchen helping him to cook, he suddenly lunged forward and tried to kiss me. Huh? What? I was so startled that I threw some carrots in his face. Oh my God. My plan actually worked and Owen had fallen for me. What about Mila? I thought this whole meeting was about a surprise for her. And that was when Owen came clean to me. He had no surprise planned for Mila. That was just a ruse to get me here. Also, turns out the time we met at the bookstore wasn't by chance. Owen had been stalking me. What? Creep! He also knew that Mila was my stepsister, so he purposely got with her to make me jealous.
Amy, it's you that I love. It's always been you.
What? Hearing him say that gave me the shivers. Well, now at least one thing's for sure. Any feelings I thought I had for him had 100% evaporated.
Letting you go was a big mistake. Please come back to me. Mila means nothing to me. I don't care about her at all.
Oh, wow. Owen is a massive jerk. How dare he take advantage of Mila's feelings like that? Ugh, I needed to warn her. But before doing that, I had to give him a piece of my mind. Let me make this clear. I only went on a double date with you guys because I didn't want to lose to Mila. Nothing else. May I remind you that you're the idiot that split up with me? Oh, and your jokes are really lame. And that's it. Owen just stood there with a bewildered look on his face, and I left. I ran straight to the cafe shop where Mila was and blurted out the whole truth about how Owen was just using her to make me jealous. I can't believe you're doing it again. What do you mean by that? Don't act all innocent. You're stealing my boyfriend again. Huh? What did she mean by again? Turns out back then, Mila had a crush on Owen. So when Owen and I started dating, she got real mad. And that's why she was always so cold with me. I didn't know. I swear. If I knew that, I would never have dated him. Ugh, just stop. I know you can't stand losing to me. Just leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with you. I give up. Talking to her was pointless. But then Jake suddenly spoke up.
Mila, she's trying to protect you. If she didn't care about you, then she'd just let you be with that jerk. But no, she told you the truth even though she knew you'd probably react like this. Because that's what sisters do. They protect each other.
Mila fell quiet for a bit, but then realized Jake was right. So we sat together and had a long, serious talk. There were laughter, tears, and copious amounts of hot chocolates, but in the end, we finally seemed to understand each other. So that was it. After all the drama, Mila and I put aside our feud and made up. At first, Mila was kinda sad about what Owen did to her. Luckily, Jake kept her company, and she soon opened up to him, and their relationship developed. And now they're dating. Yahoo! About me, I may still be single, but I'm okay with that. The main thing is that after all these years of hating and competing, Mila and I made up. I don't have a boyfriend, but I have something better. I have my sister back.
I was so nervous. Like, the most nervous I'd ever been in my life. I didn't even know it was possible for a press conference to get so crowded. Suddenly, the flashes came at me from every direction. It was almost blinding, but the clicking didn't stop, as well as the sound of them calling my name. Hazel, look here! Over here, Hazel! Oh my gosh, why was this so chaotic? I started to panic, so I ran away. But I'd only taken a few steps before thump! Oh, these stupid high heels. Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Well, let's be real, it's kind of hard to see anyone from this angle. Then from every direction, the reporters swarmed in like starving vultures, trying to take pictures of me. I was still confused and didn't know what to do when... Gentlemen, please give her some space. Are you okay? Robert, my adoptive dad, came to help me up. Excuse us, this is her first time attending such a crowded event. If it's all right with you, we'll help her answer your questions. Phew, I'd finally escaped the chaos. Or so I thought. As soon as he got into the house, Robert shouted, "Pamela!" which gave me the fright of my life. Didn't I tell you to teach Hazel some manners? How could you let her embarrass herself in front of the public like that? Pamela looked mortified and kept bowing down and apologizing, but Robert was still furious. If this happens again, you better pack your bags and get out of here. I felt so guilty. It was all because of me that she had been shouted at like that. But I'd done my best. Clearly it wasn't good enough, though. I tried to forget about it, but early the next morning, Pamela woke me up. She gave me a timetable and told me that from now on, I wouldn't need to go to school anymore, and that a tutor would come to teach me at home instead. What? Why all of a sudden? I asked Pamela in shock. It was because of yesterday's incident. The mayor has decided that you need to spend more time learning the necessary etiquette. Are you serious? He can't just keep me locked up here. No way. Hazel? Listen, you should be grateful that you got adopted into this house. Keep in mind of everything Mr. Cornelius has done for you and obediently do as I say. Do you understand what I mean? Looking into Pamela's eyes, I knew I had no choice but to agree. The day of the opening ceremony for the town hall had finally arrived, and I got to leave the house for the first time in a month. A whole month. Now was the moment of truth. In the eyes of the public, I had completely transformed into a proper, prestigious lady. When Robert started speaking at the ceremony, he announced a charity fundraiser for my orphanage, in the hopes that children like me would be given a chance to live a better life. Hearing this speech, I could barely hold back my tears. I was sitting next to my adoptive mom, Eleanor, so I turned to give her a big hug. Suddenly, all eyes were on me, and it seemed I'd finally done something right. I smiled up at Robert, and we both had tears in our eyes. Maybe Pamela was right. I really was lucky to have been adopted by such kind people. But as soon as we got home, things changed. My parents got all quiet and went off to their room, leaving me alone. Where was my praise? I'd done so well, hadn't I? Why weren't they happy? The following days, they still asked me to join them for their events, so I guess I must have done a good job. And while the media and public were around, they were all touchy-feely and affectionate towards me, constantly praising me. We must have looked like the perfect family. But the minute we got home, they'd ignore me, and if they wanted to tell me something, they'd get Pamela to speak to me. It was so flipping weird. I actually started to feel quite lonely and depressed. And even though I was living in the lap of luxury, I missed the orphanage. One day, Pamela's daughter, aka the only friend I had in this enormous mansion, Paisley, saw how upset I was and asked, "Hey, so why do you agree to move into this house? You're clearly unhappy here." Paisley got me. She was the same age as me, so we were on the same wavelength. I was nervous to tell her how I felt, but I knew she would understand, so I told her everything. The thing is, I actually have a sister. She's only 8, and she's called Amber. That's why I was missing the orphanage. She was still there. She's got congenital heart disease, so after our parents passed away, the orphanage couldn't afford her hospital bills. When the mayor's family decided to adopt me, I refused because I didn't want to leave Amber alone. But then Robert offered to pay for her medical treatments if I agreed, and well, the rest is history. You see, I can't just leave. If I did, what would happen to Amber? Oh, Hazel, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. But I need to be honest with you. One time I overheard Robert and Eleanor saying that you were the perfect girl to play this role. Huh? What role? That meant... Were they using me for something? It didn't make any sense, but those words kept lingering on my mind until... One time, Eleanor asked me to join her at a charity event, which she said was going to be broadcast on TV. Our job was to prepare homemade food and give it out to the homeless. I was so excited, but when I walked into our kitchen, I discovered the chefs had already cooked everything before the filming crew arrived. I was so disappointed and asked Eleanor about it. She just laughed and said, "Oh, no, sweetie, our job is just to look pretty and graceful in front of the camera." Then before distributing the food, she gave me a pair of gloves and said, "Don't touch any of their hands, okay? They are filthy." Oh my gosh, how could she say such things? Oh, then it hit me. I understood what Paisley had said now. The affection and kindness that the Corneliuses were showing me was actually just for show. All to win over the audience, aka the public, while this was their very true face. I had to do something about this. I couldn't let them keep on deceiving the public like this. So when Eleanor went to the bathroom and took off her gloves, I quickly grabbed them and threw them in the trash. When we went back out, a homeless man approached her to express his gratitude and asked for a handshake. Of course, she tried to refuse, but at that moment the camera turned to her, so she had no choice but to give in. And you know what? The man didn't just shake her hand. He even pulled Eleanor in for a big hug. I couldn't hold back my laughter at how flustered she looked. Served her right. Afterward, Eleanor grabbed my arm and dragged me to a quiet corner. Then she said, "It was you who did this, wasn't it?" I pretended to have no idea what she was talking about, and this just infuriated her even more. Then later that evening when we got home, Robert was already waiting and shouted at me, "What do you think you're playing at?" I was confused, but then Eleanor added, "Don't you ever mess with me like that again." Now listen closely. Don't you miss your little sis? Aren't you curious if she's doing okay or not? That's right. You better have behaved yourself from now on, young lady. I was so shaken by what they'd said. I didn't even want to leave my room. What if something happened to my sister? Then suddenly, Paisley climbed through my window into my room. As soon as I saw her, I burst into tears. "Paisley, please help me with this. I need you to go to my orphanage and check on Amber and see if she's okay." A few hours later, Paisley came back panting. "Your sister? She's not doing good." What? But hadn't she been receiving money for her monthly treatments? Paisley shook her head. "The nuns there said they hadn't received a penny since you left. Now Amber is barely surviving." Paisley's words broke my heart. Those two had been fooling me all this time, and now my sister's life was hanging on by a thread. I had to get to the bottom of this. I walked past Robert's office, and that's when I overheard someone talking. Curious, I peeked in and saw a group of middle-aged men sitting around a table. One of them spoke up. "Hey, Robert, the election day is coming. Is that little girl still doing a decent job?" "Oh, don't worry about her. She's just a silly little kid. She believes anything I tell her, especially about her sick sister," Robert smirked. How dare he speak about my sister like that? I had to do something. I couldn't let this vicious man keep on fooling everyone like he'd done to me. So I took out my phone and started filming. "Speaking of which, how much charity money have we got so far?" $100,000, Robert said, and the room was filled with praise. "Gentlemen, by the time of the closing party for the charity this weekend, we should have almost $500,000 for the election campaign. As soon as I win, your business will continue to be tax reduced for the next 4 years." I had to cover my mouth to stop myself from gasping. So this whole time, he'd been exploiting me and the orphanage for his corruption? Gosh, I was such an idiot to fall right into his trap. Suddenly my phone buzzed. "Who's there?" Robert shouted and rushed to the door. Oh no! Panicked, I ran, but not far enough before I tripped and the phone flew out of my hand. Robert and his men caught up with me, picked up my phone, and deleted all my evidence. They even took the phone away from me. He turned to me and said, "I've already warned you, have I not?" "You're a liar!" I yelled. "You haven't paid a penny to my sister," Robert growled. "Who told you that?" But all he had for an answer was my silence and fuming look. Furious, he dragged me back to my room. "Maid, bring me the keys to her room." And then he locked me up inside. until the day of the closing party of the charity rolled around, where they'd be announcing the amount of money they'd collected. That day, all the staff were out of the mansion. Suddenly, I heard the door being unlocked. Panicked, I hid behind the closet. "Hazel, where are you?" Oh, it was just Paisley. She found a way to sneak me out of the mansion and told me to run straight back to the orphanage. But no, first I had to expose that sly old fox Robert. Luckily, when I got to the event, Robert was giving his speech. I immediately ran up to the stage, snatched the mic, and told everyone about his evil plan. But I was no match for him. Before I could finish, security was dragging me off the stage, and Robert had already taken control of the situation. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry for my daughter's behavior. The reason why we decided to adopt her was that she's mentally ill. Since she came to our home, she has become better, but as you can see, there's been a bit of a relapse." What a snake! This jerk would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. Just then, the big screen on stage suddenly showed the video I'd taken, revealing all the schemes of Robert and his accomplices. Now he was well and truly exposed. I watched as he stammered. No, this can't be happening." Right at that moment, the police rushed in to arrest Robert and his accomplices in the stands. You might be wondering how we pulled that off. Well, as I was running through the hallway, I managed to send the video to Paisley. As soon as she received it, she came to find me and saw everything that had happened. So she secretly ran to her mom for help. Pamela then made a plan. While Paisley freed me from the mansion, Pamela set to work on projecting the video on the big screen. Genius, right? A month later, Robert and his accomplices were arrested for embezzlement. And, of course, he got locked up for a long, long time. Both him and Eleanor received such massive backlash from the public, to the point that she had to stay hidden away too. The charity money, luckily, was brought back to the orphanage, and part of it was used to take care of my sister Amber. She's doing much better now. Oh, and Paisley and I are still best of friends. Pamela has found a way better job. And as for me, I went back to stay at the orphanage until I'm old enough to move out. I'm better off being on my own with my sister than being adopted by some mess.
Why wasn't it working? I followed all the steps, but still, nothing. At that moment, my best friend Harry walked towards me and asked with a confused look, "Hey, what you doing?" "Hey, Harry. I'm just working on this plan to become popular, but it isn't going so well. I changed my style and posted more on social media, but I'm still not cool." You're probably wondering why I was desperately wanting to be popular, right? Well, it's all because of my annoying hiccups. Last year, I was on stage performing the play Our Town when I suddenly started to hiccup, constantly. I couldn't stop, and the whole audience started to laugh at me. In the end, they had to replace me with my understudy. Not only was it the most humiliating moment of my life, but I've also been teased about it ever since. This year, I wanted to become popular. Then everyone would forget about the hiccuping incident. If only becoming popular was easy. "Hey, you could help me." "No way! Your plan is crazy!" At that moment, the new student, Amanda, passed by, surrounded by a bunch of other students. "Why is this girl so popular? I mean, she's only been here a week." "You don't know? She's Dustin's sister. He's already the most popular guy in school. So being his sister makes her popular too. Duh." That's it, Harry. The fastest way for me to climb the popularity ladder is to date Dustin. At first, Harry seemed confused by this, but then he suddenly agreed to help me. With one condition, of course, that after I succeeded in becoming Dustin's girlfriend, I had to introduce Amanda to him. I knew it! He had a crush on her. Every guy in the school does. Fine, I'll help him, as I need Harry in this anyway. He plays a crucial role in my plan, and you'll soon figure out why. After school, I was waiting in a corner at the parking lot when Harry walked towards me, followed by Dustin. "I heard you're giving tutor lessons?" "Yeah, that's right. I don't take money. I just need..." "What do you need?" "I need you to pretend to be my boyfriend." Dustin burst out laughing, but then when he saw our serious looks, he stopped. You two are crazy.
but I do need to pass math, so okay. However, my grades have to improve within 2 weeks. Then we have a deal."
Deal! I grinned. Within 2 weeks? That's so easy. What a catch. You must be wondering how we managed to pull that off. Well, Harry's on Dustin's soccer team and overheard the coach tell him if he didn't improve his math grade, he'd be kicked off the team. Basically, we used Dustin's weakness to get the deal. I know I had no chance with him by using my lousy flirting skills, so it's time to use my greatest strength, my brain. Pretty smart, huh? I started to tutor Dustin. Then after 2 weeks, he shot up 2 grades. And that's when he held up his end of the deal and pretended to be my boyfriend. The next day, Dustin and I held hands and walked into school. And just as I expected, everybody was gawping at us. I even heard them whisper about me, "Is that the hiccup girl with Dustin?" And,
"Whoa, since when were those two a thing?"
"Ha! And that's not all. Wherever I went, people would follow me. And in every class, everyone wanted to sit next to me. Finally, I was popular, and I loved it." I just finished tutoring Dustin at his house and was about to head home when his mom appeared and invited me to stay for dinner. Awkward, but I didn't want to be rude, so I said yes. Besides, this was a great opportunity to talk to Amanda. I was sitting next to Dustin at the dinner table when Amanda walked in and gave me a dirty look. What is she doing here?
"Amanda, manners!"
Okay, had I upset her somehow? After we finished eating, I helped Amanda clean up. I pulled some homemade chocolate cookies out of my bag and gave my friendliest smile as I said, my friend Harry, he likes you. I was wondering if..." Without letting me finish my sentence, Amanda interrupted me. "Sorry, let me stop you right there. First, I don't eat cookies. Gross. Second, I assume you're asking me if I want to go out with your friend, right? No, because he's a loser just like you. It's embarrassing enough that Dustin is dating you." Then she walked off, leaving me standing there dumbfounded. Oh my God, couldn't believe what I just heard. How could a person be so rude? Ugh. The next day at school, I wanted to tell Harry to give up on Amanda, but as soon as I caught sight of him, he ran towards me, hugged me and said, "Emily, you're a matchmaking genius! Thank you!" Huh? What do you mean by that? "Amanda just asked me if I wanted to come to her party this weekend. Isn't that great? Yay!" What on earth was going on? But Harry looked so happy that I just couldn't tell him the truth. One thing's for sure, there's something sus about Amanda. Of course, I was going to that party too, 'cause I was Dustin's girlfriend, remember? Wow, we were actually at a cool kids party. Our first time ever. This was awesome. Harry even got a bit emotional. What a baby. Dustin and I teamed up to play beer pong, and it was so much fun, and unexpectedly, we won! We were so excited, and both of us cheered with joy and hugged each other without thinking. Oops, didn't see that coming. But what happened next was even crazier. Everybody started to cheer, "Kiss, kiss, kiss." Oh boy, they couldn't be serious, right? I just laughed it off and hoped everyone would stop. But no, they just kept cheering on. Suddenly, Dustin grabbed my face and kissed me right on the lips. I didn't push him away. Oh no, instead, I closed my eyes and got carried away. I even lifted up one leg. Oh, and FYI, that was my first kiss. After that, we both turned bright red and avoided eye contact. Ugh, my whole body felt hot like I was having a fever or something. Anyway, the party was everything I dreamed of and more. The next day, Harry and I arrived at school in a super good mood. But suddenly, we saw a bunch of students gathering around someone. We squished through the crowd and saw Amanda crying. Turns out, somebody from the party had stolen 2 of her mom's Fabergé eggs. Then, one of Amanda's friends suggested checking all backpacks and lockers of everyone who went to the party last night.
"But the chances are low. The culprit must have been able to hide all the evidence by now."
"Still, we should try everything we can, right? I couldn't bear seeing Amanda crying her eyes out like this." Then he gently patted her shoulder. Hey, that was smooth. Way to go, Harry. And so, we checked a few people's belongings and still nothing was found. Then it was Harry's turn. He opened the locker and, oh My God. One of the Fabergé eggs was in there. But how? He would never do such a thing. I opened my locker and... What? There was the other one! What on earth was going on? Suddenly, Amanda started shouting at us. I knew it was you two! Hey everybody, Emily over here manipulated Dustin by using his weaknesses, his love of soccer and his dislike for math. Then she forced him to pretend to be her boyfriend just so she could be cool. Everybody started glaring at me like I was the villain, but I wasn't. There was a misunderstanding. I looked over to Dustin for help, but he just avoided my gaze, then walked off. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood there in shock until Harry dragged me off with him. Well, after that, I was more popular than ever. I was now known as the girl who took advantage of a guy to get popular and then stole from him. Worse, Amanda wouldn't listen to me. Harry and I were clearly framed. I wish I could go back to my normal life before I made that stupid deal with Dustin. Oh, but then that kiss wouldn't have happened. Oh boy, might I have fallen for Dustin? Then suddenly I got a text from Amanda. It was a clip from the recent party with the message, "You're nothing to Dustin."
Why are you dating this loser? Wasn't she the girl who hiccuped during the play? I will use her until the end of this semester.
Oh my, I couldn't believe he said that. I knew he didn't like me in the way I liked him, but did he have to be so mean? The clip automatically replayed again. Ugh, watching this one time was bad enough. But wait, there was a detail in the clip that caught my attention. I rewound it and, oh my God, there were the two missing Fabergé eggs. The clip was recorded at midnight, but Harry and I left the party way before then. I quickly rushed over to Dustin and Amanda's house and showed them the video. I don't remember you both leaving earlier. What if you're lying?
Well, I noticed your front door has cameras. If you want, we could check them.
Dustin turned to Amanda and confusingly asked,
Did you put those eggs in Emily and Harry's lockers?
Amanda said nothing, but her head down said it all.
But why would you do that? Emily didn't do anything wrong.
Because I don't like her being your girlfriend. I like you.
What?
Isn't she his sister?
Oh, turns out they aren't actually siblings. Whew, that would have been weird.
The truth is their parents were really close, and when Amanda's parents died in an accident, Dustin's family took her in. So Amanda was like a sister to Dustin, but Amanda, on the other hand, has been in love with him for a long time. I decided not to make a big deal out of it. As long as she posted a status on social media saying this was all a misunderstanding and that we didn't steal from her, and she reluctantly agreed. Afterward, I immediately got out of there without saying anything else to Dustin, but he ran after me and apologized for not defending me the other day. He just couldn't choose between me and Amanda, and then he said,
That clip you saw wasn't what you think.
Ugh. What's there not to understand? It was so obvious. Then what is it? Please tell me. But Dustin just stood there silent and stared down at his sneakers. Just like I thought. There's nothing else to explain, so I stormed off. The next day, Amanda posted the status and our names were finally cleared. My life is back to being boring, but it's okay, as I now know that being popular isn't what brings me happiness. Oh, and about me and Dustin? Well, a few days later, he sent me a video. It was the same clip from the party. At first, this frustrated me. I mean, why would he make me endure watching that again? But then I noticed that this clip was longer, so out of curiosity, I pressed play. And you won't believe what happened in the second half of that video. After the part where Dustin said he just wanted to use me, everybody teased him more. He got angry and yelled.
Yes, Emily is weird, but weird in a good way. I like the way she smells books every time she opens one, and the cute way she gets embarrassed when she sneezes loudly. And do you know what I like most about her? That she hiccups every time she's nervous. You heard me right. I like her.
You see? Dustin likes me too. Amanda cut this part of the video out on purpose so I'd misjudge him. But now that I knew the truth, what do you think I did? Yeah, of course I forgave him. I mean, how couldn't I? Hi guys, it's me, Claire. So tomorrow is gonna be super exciting. I'm putting my life in your hands. Literally, as I'm going to be doing a My Instagram Followers Control My Day video. Yay! Most influencers do this with options, but I trust you guys, so go wild.
Just visit my Instagram, like this video, and comment on whatever you want me to do tomorrow. The comments with the most likes will be chosen. And don't forget to follow me to stay updated. As you can see, I'm Claire, and I'm a beauty influencer on Instagram. Of course, with this pretty face and eye for style, I already have loads of followers. But for someone who was born to be famous like me, that's not enough. That's why I'm doing this viral challenge. It'll get me tens of thousands of likes. Okay, that's it for today. Now I better get my beauty sleep. Gotta have glowing skin tomorrow. The first thing to do in the morning was to check my Instagram. 20,000 likes from my post last night. That's average. Let's see. I asked my followers to decide what I should wear and what I should eat for breakfast. And the most liked comments were about Y2K style and avocado toast. My favorite dish anyway. Easy peasy. I called the maid to prepare breakfast while I did my skincare routine. Then I made sure I took a cute selfie and uploaded it to my story. What a good start. Am I the cutest girl on earth or what? Okay, now I have to make a very difficult decision. Which bag best complements my outfit? This one or this one? I was still trying to decide when my phone rang. Ugh, that's Liam, my boyfriend. It's so early, yet he's already sent me a ton of messages. What are you doing? Why didn't you reply to any of my texts? Hurry up if you don't want to be late for school. All right, I'm coming. Jeez, why does he have to be so stressy? It doesn't matter if we're a little late. I mean, come on, it's only school. After choosing the right bag, I got into Liam's car. He frowned at me and asked me what took so long. I was busy taking selfies, I replied, and posted a mirror selfie I took earlier on my Instagram with the caption, Y2K style for today. What should I do at school this morning? At break time, I was sitting in the cafeteria with Liam and my bestie, Tori. As usual, my beauty was attracting attention. All eyes were on me, and one guy even gushed out, "You're so pretty, Claire." I checked my Instagram to see how my newly posted pic was doing. Oh, it already had 50,000 likes. That's good, but I know with my charisma, I can do even better. But, What's this? The most liked comment on the post wants me to go to the school library and scream, "I hate studying, and the library is the most boring place on earth." What kind of request is this? Don't do it. I don't have a good feeling about this. It could be from someone who's trying to sabotage you. Liam has a point. This could just be a trick that Isabella, my rival at school, devised to embarrass me. She's also an influencer on Instagram, but she just copies everything I do. Her Instagram is 5,000 followers less than mine. Yawn. But Claire, how are you going to explain to your followers if you bail out? I don't think they'd be happy about it. Right. I'm doing a challenge, aren't I? Can't stop after only 2 comments, especially because one from anti-fan. Besides, this is no big deal, right? Who even goes to the library anymore? So, I dragged Liam and Tori to the library. As you know, I need them to film me. Why was it so ridiculously busy in here? Since when did people actually want to study? I needed to get this over with. So breaking through the silence, I shouted, "I hate studying, and the library is the most boring place on earth." All eyes instantly fell on me, and I heard tuts and grunts. Then someone said, "What the hell are you doing?" Ugh, why is everyone in here so serious? I just shrugged and walked away. At least Liam and Tori had captured me at my best angle. To my surprise, that video gained me a load of views and likes, and I even earned nearly 1,000 more followers. Who would have thought that such a silly act would get so popular? At that moment, Isabella walked past me. Only brainless people would scream in the library. Look who's jealous now. Hey, you might as well try that. Maybe you'll get half of my followers. Isabella looks like she's about to explode with anger. But then she sneered and said, "Let's see if you're still laughing after you see what you've got to do next."
What is she on about? I immediately opened my Insta to check. What? The top comment this time was from Isabella. She wants me to put a trash bag on my head and go to the mall. Ew, trash bag? I spent an hour styling my hair this morning. Isabella, you wicked witch. But, okay. If she wants to play, I'll prove to her that she's messing with the wrong person. Just like last time, Liam tried to talk me out of it.
This is nonsense, Claire. Don't lower yourself to this level just for a few likes.
I told him he was overreacting, and that I wasn't going to let my followers down by bottling out of it. This seemed to annoy him, and he stormed off. So who's going to take videos for me? I called out, but Liam just kept walking. Why can't he just support me like usual? Luckily, I still had Tori, and she agreed to film it for me. That's what best friends are for. Okay, this is more embarrassing than I thought. People keep staring at me like I'm an alien. I gave them a "what are you looking at" stare, prompting them to quickly turn away. No, I have to act confidently for the video to get more likes. Looking over, I saw Tori cheering me on, so I took a deep breath, stood up straight, and did my best catwalk strut through the mall. My heart was pounding like crazy, even after we walked out of the mall. Phew, it was finally over. I then quickly opened up my Insta, uploaded the video I just shot, then texted Liam asking where he was. After that, Tori and I got in a taxi to his house. Liam was already waiting for me at the door, looking all serious when I got there. So I told Tori to wait in the taxi. Then angrily I shouted as I walked over to him, "You could have at least come and supported me. Do you know how upset I was when you just left like that?"
I wasn't comfortable filming you make a fool of yourself. I care about you too much.
It's just a bit of harmless fun. Why can't you understand how important being an influencer is to me? I don't think I can be with someone who doesn't support me and my passion anymore. We should break up. Then I just walked away, not giving Liam a chance to explain. He quickly ran over and grabbed my hand.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can we talk it out?
It worked! I gestured to Tori, then turned around with a big smile at Liam. Can you believe the followers want me to test your love by pretending to break up with you? I'll show them how much you love me. But then, unexpectedly, Liam angrily shouted,
"What? So, I'm just another tool to get likes for your Instagram? If you want to break up, then fine. We're done."
Then he stormed into his house and slammed the door. I stood there open-mouthed. How could he break up with me? In the whole 2 years we've been together, I've never seen him this mad. I'll let him chill for a bit and talk to him tomorrow. He'll have calmed down by then. Right? Look, Claire! Your shopping mall video has already reached 100,000 likes! Oh my god, what is this? People are going crazy for my videos. They say I'm so confident, wearing a trash bag and still looking stylish. I look like Kendall Jenner. And my followers also increased by 5,000 people. At least this is worth the effort I put in. The next morning, I waited for Liam to pick me up. But he never arrived. When I got to school, I tracked him down and asked if he was still mad at me.
You're so addicted to social media. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Then he walked off. At that exact moment, Isabella walked towards me. Wait, why is Tori with her?
Hey, loser, you're in so much trouble.
What does that mean? I looked at Tori in confusion, but she just lowered her head and quickly followed Isabella. Feeling something was wrong, I immediately opened Instagram and... oh my god. What are these comments? Such an attention seeker. She's willing to do anything just for some likes. I heard that her boyfriend broke up with her. No surprises there. What is this? I did all these things at their requests, and now I'm the one receiving all the hate? Suddenly, the principal announced via the loudspeaker that I had to go to his office.
As I walked in, I saw my parents sitting there. Turns out news of what I did at the library had spread. But not only that, someone even accused me of stealing from the shopping mall. Huh? I didn't steal anything. To prove my innocence, I gave the principal my bag to check. And he pulled out a brand new necklace. Why is this thing in my bag? I tried explaining myself, but no one would listen. I was suspended for a week. The walkout of the principal's office was the worst thing ever. Everyone was giving me judging looks and whispering to each other. On the way home, I took a teary selfie, then posted it on Instagram with the caption, "Consequences of yesterday's challenge. 1 week suspension." Someone put the blame on me. Once home, my ashamed-looking parents immediately took my phone away and even disconnected the Wi-Fi. Ugh! My life was over. I ran up to my room in a huff and flopped down onto my bed. Suddenly, my eyes crossed a photo I took with Liam on my birthday last year. That's when Liam threw me a surprise party, and he even made me a cute birthday cake. Come to think of it, I was a bit too harsh with him yesterday. He was only trying to protect me. If I'd listened to him, I wouldn't have all these hate comments and be stuck home for a week. I hurt Liam just to gain more followers. How could I be so stupid? I wished I could apologize to him right now, but... Then to my surprise, after just 3 days, my mom told me I was allowed back to school. There were still mutters about me, but that didn't matter, as Liam was waiting for me at my locker. I hurried over to him, apologized, and explained everything. "Claire, I know you're the sweetest, most loving girl. You just got carried away with your frivolous Instagram popularity. Besides, I know you're not a thief." Then Liam told me that out of suspicion, he asked to check different CCTV at the shopping mall and discovered that it was Tori who dropped the necklace box into my bag. Turns out, she was only hanging out with me because I was famous and rich. So when Isabella paid her, she turned 180 degrees, running after Isabella and playing tricks on me. Liam reported this to the principal, and now both of them have been suspended. That's it. Chasing after popularity on the internet didn't bring me any real friends, but only virtual fans, and a fake friend, sadly. I got blindsided by the likes and followers and overlooked what was truly important, my real-life relationships and the people who genuinely care for me. After that incident, I decided to deactivate my Instagram account for a while, at least until I feel stable again. And even if I lose all my followers, I don't really mind anymore. Because right now, I'm spending time with those who really matter to me.